What's going on, everybody? How's your weekend? So we close this. We bring this in. Right in here. All right, I think we're ready. Man, I'm having the weirdest problem. I'll tell you about it once we get going here. Here we go. So we are down at, where are we? What field? Not that one. Damn it, man. This one. We're at field 2-9. I did, so we were plowing last episode, and we did get it, I'd say, just about all plowed. We missed a little bit around the edges. I'm going to leave this. I'm not going to go in and clean this up like I normally do. We're just going to leave this as, You know, these would be some areas maybe in real life you wouldn't be able to get every single square meter. And we did get it cultivated also. So now we need to get some seed in here. And we got, what did we get? 1 layer. I think we got 1 layer of fert on here. Oh, it's not layers anymore. I need to remember that. It is, yeah, it's nitrogen and pH. But we did get it fertilized, and we did get it limed, and we're ready to go there. And then our other field that we're going to be working in is over here, field 120, and we still need to fertilize that one. But we've got, I believe our small drill, no, does not apply fertilizer. Okay, so we'll fertilize that. But first thing we'll do is we'll get, hop in the John Deere here. We'll get some seed in here. Bring the HUD back up. There we go. Bad. I'm always so scattered when I get started. I always am. I try not to be, but I feel like the last 10 minutes before I start a stream is super, super hectic. So here's what's going on. Here's this weird little problem. So I got this new mouse a couple months back. Can we refill here? Yep. I got this new mouse a couple months back. I got a Razer Naga Trinity. I love it. It's a fantastic mouse. But I noticed that so let me see. I have my right index finger. We are filling, are we not? Yeah. Income is coming down. Our bank balance is coming down. We must be adding fuel. My right index finger is over the left mouse button, right? My right middle finger is over the right mouse button. And then the way the Naga is, your right ring finger sort of settles into this little cavity, and it's just above my mouse pad, right? Like it's almost touching my mouse pad. And every time I put my hand on it, I can feel like a little fiber or something like tickling my right ring finger. So I figure, well, there's something on my mouse pad, so I wipe it off and shake it off and try to clean it all off, and same thing is happening. So I get the great idea to rotate it 180 degrees. Same thing. Okay, so clearly it's not on the mouse pad. And I think, yeah, that'll be enough fuel. We went from 1/4 tank to 3/4 of tank. That'll do. So I figure it's not on the mouse pad. It has to be on the mouse. So I'm looking at this thing under, I have like a bright LED light on my desk. I'm looking at it under the light, trying to see if there's a little fiber, a little something poking up. Can't find it. I'm going crazy. And what I finally realized, it's a little, there's something stuck to my finger. Here's your problem. But I was tripping out about that for like 10 minutes as I was trying to get started, and I was running out of time, and I couldn't figure out, what do I want to do more? What do I need to do more? Figure out what's poking me in the finger or get the stream ready. I was trying to do both at the same time. Anyway, that is what's going on. And I didn't think I would do this, but I have, for the moment, uninstalled 17. I can always reinstall it, and I kept all my mods. But I've uninstalled 17 because I realized the only map that I have that I'm playing is the Western Shore, and I'm really burned out on the Western Shore right now. I wouldn't say, I mean, it's a great map, arguably the best map, but I'm burned out on it. I burned myself out on V1, and I was really looking forward to V2, but it was one of those careful what you wish for kind of scenarios. I was not playing it while I was waiting for V2, right? And maybe I was just kind of making excuses. Maybe I was on some level feeling kind of lucky that we didn't have V2 yet, because it gave me an excuse not to play it. And the best way I can describe it is I just overplayed it. I burned myself out. But that is the only map that I have for 17, the only map that I really want to play on 17. And I know people sort of point me at maps for 17. I'm not opposed to any of those. But having come back into 19 now after it's been cooking for, what, a year, 2 years, 3 years, after it's been cooking for as long as it has, I feel like they've sorted it out, and then you get a great map like Chellington, and it's like, yeah, I'll play it. Maybe on some level I was ready to move forward when 19 dropped, but I don't know. It wasn't ready yet, but now it is, so let's go ahead and play it. I'm going to see if we can drop this plow. I don't think we'll be able to. Let's see if we can drop it while it's folded. I'm assuming we'll have to unfold it first. So yep, that is what's going on. We'll be in 19 for the foreseeable. And I've uninstalled a couple other games. I moved some things around. I was getting ready to reinstall Microsoft Flight Simulator 20. And I went and took a look. Now, I am super, super cautious Nope, got to unfold. I am super, super cautious of two things. I'm cautious of flight simmers because it is an angry boomer crowd. And I'm also cautious of anything that I read on the internet and forums and comments and all that sort of stuff. You know how that goes. Got to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. So I did take a look on the forums and I saw, I wouldn't say that it's hate, but it's a lot of people saying, yeah, no, it's just not ready yet. You know, I guess the thing now, as of late January, the thing now is a lot of crash to desktop. And it seems like every time they fix something, they break something else. And there are so many, I guess, things that the devs never got around to fixing that are resolved in mod aircraft, payware aircraft. But now the problem is they're constantly like patching the game. Not constantly, I don't mean like every couple of days. I mean, I'll call it once a month. And every time they patch the game, it breaks all the mods, and then you need to wait for the mods and payware to get fixed. So it seems to be really not quite done yet. And let's set this to corn. There we go. Let's set this to corn before I forget. So I don't know where that leaves me with Flight Simulator. I didn't download it again. I didn't reinstall it. And it just seems like, I don't know, it needs more time to cook. But I am completely content with X-Planes, so no worries there. But I moved some things around. I uninstalled some stuff. I still had virtual race car engineer and virtual setup. I had a couple of setup sims just for racing. They were both from 2019. I guess they're out of date, and there have been some other ones that have been released since then. But I uninstalled those. They weren't very big, but I haven't used them for quite a while. I feel like I learned enough about setup that I don't really need the help anymore. I can kind of dial it in myself. And I bought a couple setups, I'll admit it. I buy my setups from VRS and Pure Racing, and they're both well worth it. So that is going on. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, nothing really. Spent some time in Hunter Call of the Wild. Haven't been in there in quite a while. And really did enjoy it. I went to Hirschfeld, which is, I mean, most of the animals, nearly all the animals that you can hunt on Hirschfeld, I've already hunted in North America. So there's nothing really unique there. But I did get my first goose, and I'm excited about that. And I'm trying to think what else. Nothing really. Rallying, WRC 8. I never did get WRC 9 because of Epic Game Store. So I've been rallying in WRC 8, having a good time there. And I found how because I've done WRC 2 and WRC 2 Pro. I've won both those championships, but I can never get signed to a full WRC team. And I couldn't figure out why. And apparently that only happens in season, not in career. I don't know. So now I'm trying to do season in WRC 2 Pro. There were no Fords available, so I had to sign with the Citroen team. But I'm doing okay, and if I win this, we'll see if we get, and then we want to fold, yeah, we'll fold that up. If we win this, we'll see if we get, yes. There we go. If we win this, we'll see if we get the option to do a full WRC Pro ride, full season. See if that works out. So that is what's going on. And other than that, nothing. Skinning trucks. Got all my trucks skinned for ETS and ATS. Super happy about that. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's see how this works. We're going to put this on a basic worker because we've got smart workers uninstalled. We're going to put this on here and see how they do to start. And we want to be on exactly 0 degrees. Even though this has multi-terrain, as far as I know, we're going to put it on 0 degrees just because that works better. And we're going to let this roll for a while. Corn, fertilizer, full. All right. We're going to let this roll for a while. See how it does. And then at the end, we may do one lap around. And are we proceeding? Proceed is uninstalled as well. Good old farmers. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. We'll let this roll for a while, and then we'll maybe make one headland after it's all done. But we'll let the smart worker, I'm sorry, the basic worker. We got smart workers uninstalled. We'll let them roll for a while and see how they do. Then we'll take the fast track back, drop off the Cavernal and Cultivator. Throw some Fert on... Oh, really? Leaving a little room for me to work here? All right. I sort of expected that, and I'm okay with that. So we may need to do one headland. We'll throw some Fert on field 120. Yep. And then we'll get some Clover planted in there because our animals do want... Sir? Our animals do want fermented clover and fermented silage. Other than that, though, they are doing okay. I got them both to 100% productivity. Not making a ton of milk, though, I have to say. Ernie, what's happening? How you doing? Not making a ton of milk and not making a ton of wool. And they're both at 99%. So we'll just monitor. We'll do what we need to do. Yep, I imagine we'll need to make at least one headland, but no problem. Now, can this thing be trusted? All right, we're going to hope for the best. Fingers crossed. Take the JCB back to the farm and throw some Fert on field 120. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Gaming or sim related. Did not get the high speed. Yeah, I told you this when we were in Truck Sim. Did not get the high speed UK route for Train Sim World. And it's got some pretty bad reviews. So I think I may have done the right thing there. I'm debating uninstalling Train Sim World 2. I really never spend any time in it, and it's taking up like 150 gig of hard drive, and that's with a bunch of routes uninstalled. So I may uninstall that. I don't know. We had a good run. Me and Train Sim World, we had a good run, but I feel like it's been a pretty precipitous drop-off from CSX Heavy Haul to where we are now. I feel like I don't enjoy it nearly as much as I used to. And I know the first few videos that I saw of CSX Heavy Haul, I really did think it was going to be a lot more like Flight Simulator. There was refueling. There was kind of a long startup procedure for the locos. And you know, as far as going back to the engine room, flip the lights on, prime the pump, hit the starter, turn the lights off, close the door, lock it, go back to the cab. I thought there was going to be a lot more of that. And you can certainly do that, but there really aren't that many scenarios that require that, other than the scenarios that are specifically about starting the loco. So if you just hop into a service, the loco is always set up and running for you. You just take the brakes off and away you go. But as far as scenarios that require a cold dark start, I don't know of any other than the sort of tutorial ones. And then the other thing is with the scenario editor, is that right? With the scenario editor that came with Train Sim World 2, I don't even think you can set up a cold and dark start. If you can, I didn't find it easily. But the idea that you could start with a loco on a siding, right? Or parked in a yard, parked in a barn somewhere. You do a cold and dark start, take it to the refueling stand, refuel it, then hook up to your consist and be on your way. That is not a thing in Train Sim World 2. And I really would like it to be. I wish it was. Because that is, I think that's the most fun for me when I feel like I've actually done something rather than just hopping in and, you know, pressing a few buttons. All right, and this we can drop right here. There we are. So we want, does this field need to be scanned? I just remembered that. Field 120. Do we need to scan this one? No, at some point we did scan it. Okay. So we need, pH looks good. It does need fertilizer. And that is right there. I don't know if there's a train sim like that, including the Train Simulator franchise. I know they're both made by Dovetail, but I don't know if that is, if that's a possibility. I don't know if you can even set things up that way on your own, or if it's always going to be sort of, I don't know, more truncated, abbreviated, you know? You just kind of hop in and go. Caden, you are definitely first. All right, so I'm going to throw these right here. Hey, Caden, how you doing? And we want... I think we can do 3 of these. Can we not? Do we have enough money for this? Yeah, we got 16 grand. Oh. I am fantastic. I'm having a great weekend, even though it's been pouring down rain here. I feel like it's raining where I am right now. It's raining about 5 days out of 7, and it's, you know what I'm saying? You got to put a little effort into staying in a good mood when it's raining that much. But other than that, doing all right. And I'm very fortunate. I have a gym in my building. I prefer to get outside and run around the golf course, run around the botanical garden, you know, get out in the sun. But when there is no sun, you do what you can. So nice to have a gym right down the hall. There's 2 and there's 3. And also, before I forget, are they moving? Yes, it looks like they're... Yep, John Deere is still moving in field 29. Yes, Super Bowl is today. I'll probably watch. Just because it's the last game of the year. Turning back to snow. It's too late in the year for snow. January is when it snows. February, snow needs to be over with. By February, we're moving towards spring. Not a fan of snow in February. So I'm a Steelers fan. I don't know if you knew that. And Tom Brady has ruined the Steelers season so many times in the past 20 years. Just so many times. Not necessarily in the playoffs, but even late in the season, there will be a loss to the Patriots, and it complicates the playoff picture for the Steelers. They don't get the bye. Something happens, you know. So Tom Brady has ruined my season so many years. And I had a feeling he was not going to retire. I had a feeling he was going to go to a terrible team. LeBron James style. Shaq style. I had a feeling he was going to go to a terrible team just to sort of reinforce that he is the GOAT. And the thing about it is everybody knows he's the GOAT. Nobody is disputing that. Come on, Tom. Enough already. So if this... I don't even want to say it. If this guy wins a Super Bowl with effing Tampa Bay, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Enough, Tom Brady. You just need to stop. Knock it off. So I may watch, because it is the Super Bowl and it's the last game of the year. Big B, what's happening? But I am not a Tom Brady fan. And he really does need to stop. What's he going to play till he's like 60 years old? That guy. And I feel like he's right in between eras. Stan, what's happening? I feel like Brady's right in between eras. Right? He's definitely after the era of... Smash Mouth, 1970s, right? NFL players had jobs they worked in the off season for a little bit extra money. You know, he's well beyond that era. And I think if he did play in that era, he most likely would not have been able to stay injury-free and play as long as he has. But there's another era that's arriving now of not just parody, but I don't know. I don't know if Jackson or Mahomes or some of these young players, I don't know if they're able to have careers like Brady as well. I feel like obviously he's extraordinarily gifted, and I don't want to take anything away from him. He's very, very talented. He's extremely driven, but he also has been lucky. He's been lucky to have an organization around him. He's been lucky not to take any bad injuries. And also just the timing, the era that he plays in. So he's the GOAT. I think he'll always be the GOAT. I don't know if there will ever be a time when a quarterback can play as well as he did for as long as he did. All right, get this last little bit. I feel like I've been slacking a little bit. I haven't been playing as realistically as I played on 17. I've been Stingray, what's happening? I feel like I've been I don't know, cutting some corners, you know? I tried to play extremely realistically in 17, you know? Avoid icing the cake when you're using an implement, but I feel like I've been sort of just a little bit drifting away from that. Being a little bit more, I don't know, having a little bit more fun. Maybe X-Plane is my go-to sim for realism now, and I can enjoy myself in other sims. So right down this way, we'll drop this off. And I think we can grab that little cedar. And we're going to put what? Clover in here. Oh man, look at me. I'm all over the road. Trying to read the chat. That's what happens. Over here, traffic looks good. And then right down here under these trees, I do need to go first person. Tom Brady, I think, obviously at the top of the list. I mean, there was a time when you could have put Terry Bradshaw on that list, and being a Steelers fan, I would want to. But I feel like, again, it's an era thing. You know, do I think he would be at all competitive if he played the game today? Probably not. Now, in fairness, I don't know if Tom Brady would be competitive if he played in the 70s. Right? It's like Dirk Nowitzki with that high knee. Try that in Los Angeles in the 70s, you get your leg broken. So it doesn't always transfer over. But I would want to put him on the list, even if he doesn't necessarily belong there. Stingray, I don't know. I think we'll find out. Yeah, he did. He didn't have to put up amazing numbers because the teams they were playing against couldn't put up any numbers at all. I would say Joe Montana needs to be in there. I mean, if you want like a sentimental favorite, Y.A. Tittle. I don't know. I mean, it's a... What are we looking for? This thing. Montana? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I mean... I think one of the reasons I'm sort of drifting away from the NFL is the game. I'm not saying that we need to have like the big crushing hits anymore. I don't know why Marino wasn't. Being a local boy, we want clover, soybeans, oilseed, grass, cuttable hedge. What? Linseed? Rye, I don't know if you can see these. They're down on the lower right. Very, very tiny. Triticale, spelt, pasture grass, horse grass, field grass, alfalfa, clover. Jeez, it's the last one. Yeah, Marino was a local boy. I don't know why he didn't play for the Steelers. It certainly would have helped avoid the Bubby Brister era. Yeah, the Rooneys are... we used all our seed in there. I thought we still had a few left over. The Rooneys are an interesting family. And I think after this season, after that loss to the Browns, I think it would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense to not fire Tomlin, but I think it would make a lot of sense for him to move on. I think Roethlisberger needs to retire. I don't know how he's still vertical. It doesn't seem possible with all the hits he's taken. But I think Tomlin needs to move to another team. I think Roethlisberger needs to retire, and neither one of those things will happen because the Rooneys are so loyal that the Steelers have had, like 3 coaches in 60 years. So I think Tomlin will stick around as long as he wants. And as long as he's around, I think he'll keep Roethlisberger around. So until Roethlisberger retires or gets injured out of the sport, I think we're looking at that. It's on at 11:30 tonight. Yeah, it's the big game. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Super Bowl in a stream. I'll end up owing the NFL money. Fried, how you doing? I'm trying to think who else would be on that list. I mean, there's a lot of... I think there are a lot of first ballot Hall of Famers playing today. We can take the next, right? We don't need to back up to that. I think there's a lot of first ballot Hall of Famers playing right now. Aaron Rodgers, I think, could make it in there. Peyton, arguably, could be top 5. I don't know. I mean, I know the joke was after Peyton went to the Broncos, they wanted to give him MVP the following year. Yeah, they wanted to give him whatever year it was he went to the Broncos. It was the year after they wanted to give him MVP, even though the Broncos didn't do that well, because the Colts went from whatever they were, like 12-4 his final year to like 1-15 the year that he left. He obviously made a massive difference for that team. And he's just, I don't know. I mean, to win a lid with 2 teams, I think is pretty special. And I think he's just a great guy, too. So how do we want to do this? Let's go course play for this. We do have Clover selected. This is field 120. So we will say fertilizing and seeding. Generate a course. Field 120. Headland, we got to do 2 because this thing's kind of narrow. 49. Let's just do 2. Let's just calm down. 2 headland passes. No islands. Don't need to skip rows. Single tool. Generate a course. It's going to be 6:30 p.m. in the U.S., Stingray. That's the kickoff. The pregame started like early this morning. Yeah, there've been... I feel like the Ryan Leaf syndrome didn't end with Ryan Leaf. There's been a lot of Jamarcus Russell going on in the past 10 years. A lot of hotshot quarterbacks have really not panned out. I feel like there've been more disappointing quarterbacks in the past 10 years than like in the previous 50. And I don't know what's causing that. We want this. Yeah, we need to see our little mark. Where is it? I don't even know where the first point is. Here it is. Yeah, and that's sort of my thought about there not being another Brady, is all those hotshot flop quarterbacks from the past 10 years. I feel like it's not, I don't know. It's just not as easy to plug in and be amazing from early days. I want to see what happens with Jackson. He's supposed to be the truth, but who knows? All right, so we can turn this off now, and we're going to start from first waypoint. Stop when you're done. Activated. Do not return to the first point. We good? Let's see how we do here. We are planting clover. Beautiful. All right, so let's run over and see how our John Deere is doing. As wide as that thing is, I'm hoping they've made some decent progress. We'll clean up the edges. Do a headland if we have to. Get that thing parked, see what we need to do as far as grass work, and then we may speed up time a little bit as soon as our clover is in, so we can do a little harvesting today. I think our sunflower should probably come in today. You just take your time, sir. Yep, I'm thinking our sunflower should come in today. Oh, no worries, Fred. I appreciate you stopping by. Every time you say D&D, I think of Division 2, because it has that infinite loot, right? Just the infinite loot chase. I hopped in there a little bit yesterday and immediately was like gnawing on my cuticle trying to figure out the best way to collect that Resident Evil gear for the tie-in. I have, it's cosmetic. It doesn't do anything for you. And I don't even like Resident Evil. And I'm still getting all fired up like, oh, I gotta get this loot. I gotta get this gear. Oh, look at that. John Deere did great. All right. So we will do, if we scroll over here, let's see how well this did. Oh, we got to go here now. Sorry. Okay, that's fair. And then we've got this little part right over here. Okay, that's fair. It didn't do that good. It did pretty good, though. We got to do this little area. So let us... yes, it is. It's mostly a loot grind. It's fun with friends, but it's not a whole lot of fun by yourself. And you know what they say. If a game is only fun with your friends, that game's not fun. It's your friends that are fun. Oh, and interesting. We need to go fill this thing up too. So let's drive around here on the grass verge, trying to minimize damage to the field. We'll get up to this yard. Here on the left, we'll have some seed delivered. We'll load this thing up and continue. Yeah, I played it just the opposite. I played it solo first, and then I found some fun people to play with. And it's... I mean, when you're playing with people, to me, like a lot of video games, it's more or less just a venue for clowning, right? You're not really playing the game. You're just clowning with your friends. So that's fun. But yeah, I agree with you. It is, I mean, not my favorite title. And this thing holds, what did we say, 3? So we're going to let's put 2 in here. And we can buy a 3rd if we have to. I had a lot more fun playing Tarkov with my friends. The only problem with Tarkov is it was making me very sad and angry. That game is next level. Too difficult. Oh, really? Oh, no, they go in. The lid doesn't open, but they go in. Okay. So what do we want to do here now? If we go up this side, yes, this could work. If we go up this side, then around the top, down the other side, then across the bottom? Could that be a thing? Could be. Okay, we're going to have a little gap here and there, but not too bad. And I think this is a direct planter, so as we make our turn here, yep, it's going to curve around and overwrite what we're passing over, so the field, hopefully it'll have a nice look when it's done. And what we're doing is not super realistic, but I'm sort of moving away from that. I'm focusing more on enjoying myself when I'm farming. I figure until there's a game that has these sorts of features built into it as a requirement, then, you know what I mean? Let's just make the most of it. And I think there may be at some point. I think Cattle and Crops may expand their code out to have really, I guess, really sort of punishing crop destruction and soil compaction and various other things that we're sort of asking for. You know, when we get all those things, what I'm doing right now will sort of be impossible. But until then, you know, we'll just kind of wing it. We've got, no, we're okay. I'm trying to run the right side of the planter right down the side of the field. We're overlapping a little bit, not too bad. and I need to be careful speeding up time because our animals are eating so much food. I don't know how safe it is to speed up time and how much food will be left if I do. Now, the nice thing is they don't die. They just stop being productive. But I'm still, I don't know. I feel like I'm conditioned. Too many years of playing with seasons. Oh, I don't know. All the all the aliens that were making them graduated from college and got jobs in the finance industry, didn't have time to be out stomping around fields in the middle of the night. Oh, thanks, Stingray. I appreciate that. Yeah. They traveled across the vastness of space to make circles in wheat fields. I did hear a fascinating theory about them on Art Bell. And the fascinating theory was that since aliens are trans-dimensional, the crop circles were like temporal markers that they would leave by leaving a set of crop circles and having them documented in newspapers. Then later, when they arrived on Earth in other timelines, by looking on the internet, they could see whether that crop circle existed in the present timeline that they were in and could then use it as sort of a marker. Yeah, I don't know, man. That seems, you know what I mean? So you have access to time travel, but you don't have access to a calendar. You do you, man. Who knows? But that was, I don't know, it was one of those forced theories. Who was it Teeter? Teeter was the time traveler, and so much of his stuff was like, wow, man, he might really be a time traveler. And then he'd say something, then it's like, wait, what? Hang on now. Ran a little wide right there. That happens. Yeah. I don't know, man. I like Fox Mulder, I want to believe, but I am just naturally skeptical. A little bit cynical. I'm willing to believe, but it's like conspiracy theories. If you've ever had the misfortune of working night shift, I don't know what it is about the night shift that brings out people who want to talk about conspiracy theories, but most of the conspiracy theorists, also most of the super hardcore racists that I've had to deal with in my life, has been overnight. So if someone wants to talk conspiracy theories late night, I'm willing to listen, and I'm not going to begin by, making fun of them or, snickering into my palm about what an idiot they are. Tell me what you got, man. I really want to hear it. Exactly. I'll hear you out, but I expect to be impressed is not a good poster. But that's my thing. I'm more than happy to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to ask questions. And I'm not asking questions to trap you. I'm asking questions because I'm curious. If you get angry and feel trapped, it could be that your theory is nonsense. So don't get mad. You know what? I think we're headed... Yep, we are... all right. That is due south right there. So we can hop out, and hopefully they've got enough room to make these turns, and they'll just knock out this last little bit right here themselves. Beautiful. And I haven't seen a warning to indicate the JCB is caught on anything, so we'll let him make a couple turns, and then we'll head back down to field 120 and get all this stuff put away. And it's evening, too. It's 4:30. Exactly. And I have yet to receive a good answer. And people do get at least that type of personality. I notice they get really skittish and kind of defensive. And eventually you'll be told that you're part of the conspiracy. Okay. Well, I never got my Soros money, so apparently I'm not very good at being part of the conspiracy. Yeah. Yep. And I like the the blanket. Oh, what would you call them? The master hand wave. The master hand wave is, oh well, you just don't want to get it, or this is so obvious. I don't understand how you can't see it. I don't know, man. I just can't see it. Yes, exactly. And you know, everybody has a price. Everybody has a price they would be willing to sell out for. And for most of us, fortunately, we're never confronted with that price. So, I mean, it's easy to pretend to be moral when you're not really being tempted. But if Soros popped up, if Soros sent me an email and was like, listen, I need you to start spouting QAnon. Well, you know, I do have a retirement to plan. Oh, yeah. Everybody would. Everybody would. And for most of us, we never have to decide. I don't even remember where I read it, but it's resonated with me ever since. Morality is how nice we agree to be to each other when we can be. But there is no true morality. Read about the shipwreck of the Medusa if you want to learn about morality. You know, there was no cannibalism when the people were getting into the lifeboat. Imagine that. All right, running through traffic here. Carefully running through traffic. And 120 is not that big. I don't know what kind of a Clover yield we're going to get out of it. But I think we'll probably end up converting one more of our grass fields to Clover at some point. Yeah, I mean, it always starts nicely. It always starts optimistically. But yeah, we're a couple weeks away from the 12th century. I just don't want to go in the first wave. That's my goal. I know I can't live forever, but I don't want to go in the first wave. I don't want to be the guy with the 5 Series, you know, standing at the ATM, punching in his code over and over. I don't know, honey. It doesn't seem to be working. And the camera pulls back and there's no bank. It's just an ATM and everything behind it is blown up. I don't know, honey. Let me tell the kids I'll be back in a minute. I don't want to be that guy. All right, let's see how we're doing on seed here. And I don't think this will be fertilizing. Oh, it can't fertilize. Never mind. Wait a minute. What? This is barely using any. Keon, what's happening? How you doing? How's your weekend? All right, that's still tracking away. Yeah, Clover goes slow. The tank was so full, I thought I had left the hired worker on. I thought they were still buying seed, but it just uses Clover very, very slowly. Well, yeah, I guess that would make sense because the corn we had on the John Deere, that ran out, so it's definitely using seed that's in the planter or the drill. Okay. Podge and Buns tea room. I'd eat there. Ice cream cart. I'd eat there. I ate so much good street food when I was in Southeast Asia, and I never got sick once. And you wouldn't think that, because I know, like in Thailand, the cutting board is just a stump. It's just like a piece of wood on a cart. And I know, like, a biologist can tell me that wood is a natural, I don't know, it's got some kind of natural antimicrobial something. I don't know, wood, like germs don't grow on wood or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's just not a good look. But I never got sick any of the food carts that I ate at. The Terror. No, I have not seen that. And we've got Yep, just a couple passes here. We'll drive this thing back. I did really like In the Heart of the Sea, though. And that is... I mean, I trust Ron Howard. And I get that when you agree to make a movie... All right, Fried. Thanks for stopping by. I think we're going to do X-Plane tomorrow. Same time. Like when Fincher did Fight Club, right? Chuck Palahniuk was saying that one of the first times they talked, Fincher was like, wow, it's so amazing that this character is hallucinating all these people. And Palahniuk is like, wait, hallucinating all these people? And Fincher's take on it was, the narrator is everybody. He's not just Tyler. He's Bob. He's Marla. He's everybody. And there's a very compelling argument for that in the book. And then when you read the movie, there are a lot of other things that happen, like a lot of little Easter eggs that the narrator is everybody. So that was Fincher's take on it, and Palahniuk was like, "Yeah, man, you do you." So I get that Ron Howard's take on In the Heart of the Sea was a little bit more supernatural, and But as I read the book, as I read Spielberg's take on it, it was just a straight up, almost journalistic description of what happened, and they got attacked by a whale. Nobody really knows why. It's happened periodically throughout history. They just got attacked by a whale, and what's fascinating for me is there's probably no worse place for you to be in a jam on the planet than in the center of the Pacific Ocean. Like, there's just... we got the Atlantic and the Pacific. Well, aren't they the same size, approximately? No, man. The Pacific is like 3x the Atlantic. It is ridiculously big. And they were just out in the middle of the Pacific in a couple of rowboats. Fellas, we're in a bit of a pickle here. I don't know where John Deere is going. We're just going to finish this single row manually. Yeah, exactly. Aren't those the same, more or less? Not exactly. All right. There we go. So field 2.9 is done. Nope, it's not quite done because it's turned off at some point. Oh, stuff like that creeps me out. Closer to space than to land. Oh. And I don't think, yeah, these tanks are pretty small on here, so I think even if we back up to this and refill, I don't think we're going to get rid of both these pallets, so I'll have to come up off camera and we'll get rid of them that way. Take them back to the farm. That's twice I've hit those. I thought I hit the brakes early enough both times. All right, we got rid of one of them. It's better than none of them. Yeah, weather is amazing. I climbed on Mount Washington, I wouldn't say for years, but many, many times over about 3 years, 4 years. Oh, hang on. Is there a better way to do this? And we saw, while I was up there, we saw Himalayan expeditions training in the Great Gulf because the weather is so rotten on Mount Washington. And it's so cheap to go there. For a U.S. expedition, it's so much more affordable to go to New Hampshire than it is to go to like the Himalaya to practice, or Denali. So we saw Himalayan trips up there, or Himalayan prep trips in the Great Gulf, and the weather is just, it's surreal. 30 or 40 below with a steady 50-knot wind. What? It's like you're not even on Earth anymore. And as bad as that is, it's still nothing compared to the Arctic. 80 below, 100 knot wind. I know there definitely used to be. It was, I think it's one of the only, what's that called? Is that a funicular railroad? I think it's one of the only ones in the US, if it's still running. Yeah, it's when it gets cold enough to freeze the propane in the tanks, when they leave vehicles running 24/7, because the what is that green dot right there? What is that? Is that saying almost fire? Are we being followed? I don't know what that dot is. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. When they leave vehicles running 24/7, because if they cool off, the oil gets so thick that it's impossible to restart them even with a block heater. Like, that's cold, man. That's just way too cold. All right. JCB's going way back. All right. Yeah, that was the day I left Montana. I was living in Missoula, Montana, and I went out to get my van. My van had a flat tire, so I went back inside, put on my mountaineering kit to change the tire, and I was wearing ice climbing gloves, but the cold from the tire iron was going through my gloves and making my hand stop working, so I could only work for like 10-15 minutes at a time. And I got the tire changed, went back inside and made some calls and moved to the desert. That was on a Wednesday and I moved on Friday. Enough. Enough. Couldn't take the cold anymore. And I like the cold when I'm mountaineering, but I don't like it all the time. I don't like it when I'm like trying to live my life. All right, so we'll drop that. Get this thing parked. And we'll go grab the JCB as soon as they're done, bring that over, park it up, and I guess we can check on the animals and then speed through time. Although, we'll need to monitor to see if we get weeds in field 2-9. I left the weeds turned on. I thought I turned them off, but I did leave them on. All right. Back to field 120. And we've got, I'm sure you've seen this, we've got a combine harvester. At the moment, we don't have a corn header or a sunflower header. And I want to say in 19, they're different. Used to be you could use a corn header for sunflower, but not anymore. So we'll need to either buy or lease one. Probably lease, because I don't know that we're going to do a lot more sunflower. All right, just about done. Perfect timing. We'll let this work for a minute. I'm going to have some water. Be right back. Nope. Yes. Thinking about it? Nope. Yeah, that's... I remember from Montana, that's when it would start to get my attention. I don't know what Courseplay is doing right now. There he goes. Well, not really. Daniel, what's happening? I feel like the two, I don't want to say dangerous. It's probably overstating it. But I I tend to go like shorts and a soft shell a lot, and I feel like I'd say about 20 to 40 Fahrenheit. We're not on MP right now, but you're certainly welcome to hang out. Like 20 to 40 is, it's cold. It's definitely cold, but it's not so cold that when I'm leaving the house. No worries. We're trying to put together a 19 server now. Hop on the Discord, make yourself known, and we'll include you as we start getting things going. Owen, what's happening? Our Courseplay is it's going a little bit crazy right now. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they needed to put it in as a crop type, but it's, I don't know that there's a whole lot of Clover farming going on in the world. Courseplay is just struggling. So yeah, when it's between 20 and 40 outside, I feel like that's the worst temperature for me because I don't really dress for it, but that's pretty damn cold. And particularly on the 40 end, that's when you get the creeping hypothermia, which I've seen. It's never happened to me, but my climbing partner had hypothermia one time, and it was, I mean, we were constantly reading the Adirondack Mountain Club accident reports. We were always reading Medicine for Mountaineering and Mountaineering Freedom of the Hills, the first aid section. So we were all about, you know, trying to be as healthy as possible, trying to take care of our health and safety as much as possible in the backcountry. And what he was doing was exactly what we had been reading about for years. We were headed back to camp, and he's like, "Hey, you know what, man? I'm just gonna stop here for a while. I'm super tired. I'm fine. I'm just super tired. I'm just gonna stop here for a while and maybe take a little nap. And I'll just either." What is happening right now? And either I'll just join you guys later, or you can like come back for me, but I'm fine. I'm just going to take a nap in the snow. And we were slapping him and screaming his name and doing everything we could to, like, I don't know, get some adrenaline going or something. So I've seen what hypothermia looks like, and it really is kind of insidious. So on those 40-degree days, when I head out in, you know, shorts and a windbreaker, that's when I know I should be the most careful, because that's when I'm taking it the least seriously, if that makes sense. All right, I may need to do a little cleanup because, as always, Courseplay is sorting it out. But regardless, we're just about done with this field. We'll get this parked up. I think we may have to do weeds, depending on how fast our crops are growing. May have to do weeds in both field 2.9 and this field. Then we'll skip time. Oh, and animals too. I can't forget animals. That's a bold statement, Stingray. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I like it. I don't know what is happening right now. I mean, I'm just letting it play. I guess we could hop in and take over manual control, but I'm sort of enjoying. You know what this reminds me of? If an alien had taken over a human body and was trying to figure out how to drive a tractor, this is what it would be doing. All right, here we go. This is where the healing starts. Everything's fine now. Well, it sounded good on paper. I've never seen Courseplay do this. It's like it's not making a headland. It's just sort of doing lengths around the outside of the field. What is happening? Yeah. You ever driven a tractor before? Oh, sure. Tons. I was on a job site years ago, and my boss asked me to back up a 3-axle dump. And I was like, no, man, I can't do that. I've never done it before. And he's like, yeah, well, neither did I till the first time. Back the truck up. Just don't hit anything. Okay. It's too much. I have to stop Courseplay. I don't know what is happening right now, but I can't stand it no more. Stop. All right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Here we go. Oh, the winter freeze, yeah. And we are, yeah, let's just do a kind of a quick and dirty headland and get this knocked out. Yeah, this is, I don't know. And then it does this sometimes too, where it doesn't square off before it starts its length, and so you get these little gaps. I mean, it's not, well, I guess it is sort of a big deal, because this field in particular, this Clover field, we're not going to be playing it again anytime soon. All right, so we'll clean this up as well as we can. All right, down here it's okay. But I feel like on the other end it started its lengths kind of haphazard. Oh, camera. And I'm so glad we got rid of Proceed. I love Proceed. I love my tram lines. But it was not happening. Oh. Were you on here last stream when I think it was Fried, was saying there's a video of somebody accidentally flipping a crane down a mine shaft? That's not a good day. That's not a good day at work. You thought it was bad that time you cooked perch in the microwave? This is way worse than that. All right, and I know this is all done, but I feel like, yep, there's a little spot down here. We need to cover this off. And the whole bottom is done, I think. All right, back up top. And we're going to be a bit unrealistic here. I'm just going to drive across these little areas that Courseplay missed. Just because I don't, you know what I mean? Every time I come up here to mow this, we're going to see these. I'll be triggered. Like that. And then right across here. All right. Better? Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm curious if any dev is ever going to swing around this way. I'm curious if any dev is ever going to take a shot at the Farm Sim franchise. I mean, I know Cattle and Crops sort of is, but I don't really think of them as a dev. They are developers. I'm not like demeaning them when I said I don't mean it that way, but they're a very independent studio. They're a bunch of modders that got together. I mean, like, you know, it would never be Electronic Arts or Sony or anything, but if a big house decided to start making What is the main crop in the USA? Corn. Unfortunately, I think about 80% of it is sold as hog food, because we do love our bacon. Hog food and ethanol. Yeah, there you go. So we'll get this parked up. I'm going to speed time up a little bit, and we'll keep an eye on the weed map. Oh, wait, the what? You said who now? Keep an eye on the weed map, and as soon as our weeds sprout, we'll hop in the class and come up and spray. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing that so much corn is used for corn syrup and ethanol, and soybeans get sold. They're using soybeans for plastics now. You would think it would be wheat, but everybody's anti-gluten. So it seems like it would be wheat, but in reality, it's the biggest money crops are corn and soybeans. And not all of that goes directly for food. I mean, ultimately, I guess it's all used as food, or most of it. But like corn syrup and sweeteners and that sort of thing. All right, so we'll put this, I think that's where it was. Yeah, we're finding homes for everything, and we don't need a whole lot more equipment on the farm. So I don't think we'll need too many more spaces to put things. All right, drop this like so. Get this parked up. And we're okay on maintenance. We could probably throw some fuel in here. Right about there. And I'm just going to start refueling this and just leave it here. Yeah, why not? All right. Class is here. And if we go to... So where are weeds now? Weeds are under precision farming? Of course not. They're where we were. Weeds are here. And do we need to select Clover? Nope, it's already selected. Okay. So if we go here, speed up time, we'll keep an eye on this. Unknown. Unknown, Big B. I mean, I know the way they're cutting down forests to make room for those ranches. If they're not at the top, they're certainly close. All right, so we'll get this hooked up. Okay, that's all set. All right, so now if we take a look at animals, nothing's in the red. I think we're okay at the moment. Speed up time a little bit, so we'll go to, I think the most we can go in base game is 120. Sun's going to be going down here momentarily. All of the meat for Burger King comes from Brazil, apparently. Well, it would be Burger Jefe then, would it not? All right, no weeds yet. No, oh man, I stepped on my own joke. It wouldn't be Burger Jefe because Brazil is Portuguese, not Spanish. All right, disregard. All right, seem to be okay. I don't see these values coming down at all. That sounds like the policy they have with. So you take a MacBook or something. All the parts are made overseas, but then they like snap the cover on and put it in the box, and they can say "Made in USA," assembled in USA, that sort of thing. I guess we'll just go through till tomorrow morning. It's going to be dark enough now. Animals are still okay. Did we get weeds? No weeds yet. All right. Well, we'll just speed through the night then. All right. Proper dark. Damn it! I knew that was going to happen. All right. I think we may have to spray weeds in the dark. I think we may. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to slow down time again. I mean, we don't work in the dark too often, so I think this is okay. And it's not super, super dark. I think there's a dark night mod you can get that really kind of blacks things out, but you can still see somewhat. So top this off. There we are. And if field 120 has sprouted, can you like pre-spray for weeds? I think you have to wait till they start to grow before you can spray them. And let's try to be good citizens here. We'll turn off the work lights when we go out on the road. Beautiful. Clover is already sprouted. Man, this is so different than playing with seasons. It's so different. And it looks like sunflower's not quite ready, but it's getting closer. Yeah, the way everything is tied together now is... I mean, I don't want to say that it's good or bad. I don't know that there really is a point of saying that it's good or bad, because that's just the way it is. There's nothing that can be done about it, but everything is so interconnected now. Economies are linked, manufacturing is linked, supply chain is linked. Everything is just so tied together. All right. How do we want to do this? I guess we'll just go once around. Man, this is going to be really tricky to see at night. Let's do this. So we're going to unfold. Yeah, it really is globalized. And I get I get a bit impatient with people when they talk about, you know, we need to go back to the way it was in the 1800s. And it's like, Yeah, that's not going to happen. There's UPS has a big facility in Atlanta. It's top secret. It's top secret, so I'm going to tell you about it. It's not really top secret, but they've got a test center. So a UPS center is any place where they call them package cars, but any place where the actual delivery trucks go out from. That's typically referred to as a center. And then some of them sort of overlap with hubs, and they're different sizes, from 20 or 30 routes up to 150 routes, and functioning as a hub as well. But they've got a center in Atlanta that isn't a center. It's just a test platform. And they need a full-size, essentially a full-size working mock-up where they can test the new technology that they're developing before they deploy it to actual centers. So they can't test it in centers without it being disruptive, but they can't test it on a smaller scale and then know that it works. So they've got a full-size center just for testing in Atlanta. And the guys that I worked for, like my supervisors, had... We're going to do a thing while we're here. If we go here, we want this. No, we want this. No, we want this. It's one of these. I'll get it. It's not that. Not that. Not that. Not that. How do I... Is it this? It's not that. There it is. I will continue momentarily. So we want to set that, and then we want here, and we want this to 180. No, 0, because we're headed due north. Okay. So now if we do this, beautiful. If we do this, we can at least have one straight row, and then we'll just base all of our other rows off this. So UPS is constantly like trying to figure out where things are going. And one of the things that they've been really focused on the past few years is the idea that as 3D printing comes online, there will be less packages being sent, right? So they're approaching the concept of, they want to be on the leading edge of, rather than something being delivered, it's going to be made in the town where it's ultimately going to be used. So they want a piece of that. So they're experimenting with ways that rather than sending a package via UPS, you would send a file to a UPS center that would have 3D printers. They would print the part up overnight and then put it on the truck in the morning. And when people say, well, why can't we just go back to the way it was in the 1800s? That's why. It's never going to be like it was. And if you want to, somehow try to make it the 1800s in your world, you can do that, but the rest of the world is going to continue moving forward without you. Tara, what's happening? Yeah, exactly, Big B. I mean, I've had multiple employers over the years say I would replace you all with robots if I could afford to. And I get it, that's the smart thing to do. And I've joked about, if I ran a business, I'd treat my people right, and then in a year or two, I'd be out of business because you can't function that way. So it would be nice if we could do it the way it was always done in the past, but it just doesn't work that way. Pro Gamer, what's happening? Yeah, exactly, Big B. I think the era of the 30-year career, the 30-year job is just over. And some people sort of recognize that. I think for a lot of millennials, that is, that's a quaint idea. You're working someplace for 30 years. Really? People used to do that? But that era is just over. All right, so I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this without taking a look at the map. I'm going to try to do this entire field without looking at the map, and then when I'm done, I'm going to look at the map and see how I did. Right? It's like when 60 Minutes goes into the hotel room with that ultraviolet light. We're not going to know how bad it looks till we're all done. Yeah, I think a lot of people are sort of coming to terms with that, and cuts both ways because life expectancy is going up and up and up. So I think there may have been a time where it's like, I'm going to work till I die. Fortunately, that'll only be 65. But now it's like, God, I'm going to be working till I'm 90. Yeah, well, and one thing I can say, and I'm not taking sides on any of this. I'm just trying to observe it as provable facts. But like when they set the age for retirement 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you retired at 65 and you'd be lucky to make it to 70. So it was like, you know, take a couple years off and enjoy yourself before you die. But you've got people retiring at 65 now and then living to be 90. And that's a long time to be on Social Security. And the idea that, well, that's my money, I paid into it. Come on, man. If you were paying into it 25 years ago, you were paying into it at 10 or 15% of what your deductions are today. So ultimately, you're going to get a lot more out of it than you put in if you don't get sick. If you get sick and you're on Medicare or Medicaid, one procedure could exceed the entire withholding of your entire working career. So it is, I agree with people when they say Social Security is an absolute pyramid scheme house of cards, but nobody wants to be the generation to say, all right, stop paying into it and will stop paying out. Like, at what point do you break the cycle? Because there are people just about to retire that have paid into it for so long, right? But they need people to continue paying into it so they can get paid out. Yeah, and there's so many economic studies now talking about sustainable 25 and 30% unemployment as automation and robotics comes online, that it would make more sense economically to have a third of the population receiving direct benefits, welfare, whatever you want to call it, so that they could continue to be consumers to buy the stuff that's being made by automation. So I think there's going to be some weird kind of crossover in terms of like how we define economic success. And again, I take no sides on it. I'm just making the observation. And I don't know where it's all going to end. I don't know what we're going to do. Yeah. And, I see both sides of it, Big B, because I definitely understand people that are like, if you promise people a certain amount of money, they're just going to take it. And I think, well, I mean, you've got hedge fund managers that are worth $500 million risking prison to grift 20 million more. There is a certain percentage of the population that's always going to try to steal. It's never going to be enough for them. So yeah, people will take advantage of that, but people at Exxon are taking advantage of... Exxon is one of the most profitable corporations in the history of the species, and they get grant money from the government. Wait, what? So there are always people. There will always be people that will take advantage of free stuff. Whether they're rich, poor, thriving, barely getting by, people will always try to game the system. But I don't think that's any reason not to at least explore the possibility that, that's where we're headed. It is going to get weird, exactly. All right. I'm so confident that I did okay. I'm going to fold this thing up. Let's take a look and see how we did on weeds. All right, so we'll turn this off first. Turn our work lights off. Son of a... God damn it. All right. We're going to unfold this. We're going to turn our work lights back on. Is it this one? I feel like it's the next one. It's both. You know, I read something the other day, and it made me very happy and very sad. But essentially it said everything that is broken in the world right now was broken by boomers. Because millennials have voted like once or maybe twice. Western economies have been on the downslope since the 1970s. You know, millennials didn't do that. They weren't born yet. And, you know, all the geopolitical messes that we have all over the world, and just all the chaos and income inequality, environmental damage, it's all boomers that did that. And they've done it over the past 30 years. So yeah, I agree with you. We've been sold a lot of lies, and we've been sold those lies by boomers. It's not a Republican Democrat thing. It's not a left-right thing. It's been just boomers. That's the demographic that ties it all together. And you're absolutely right. We've been sold a bill of goods, and now we have to pay for it. And somebody else got the grift. Exactly. And it's corn too, so it's tall enough that I might not have seen them at all. All right, now how's it looking? Beautiful. See that? And it only took one try. I think about the proles from 1984 a lot, and I feel like it doesn't matter where you land on the socioeconomic spectrum. We're all just proles. And it's disheartening for me to think that by a global standard, I am the 1%. You know, my income exceeds 99% of the population of the planet. But compared to people who actually have wealth, oh man, this is a, are you seeing this? This is a Giants DLC, and this has never been fixed. It is acting as though the booms are extended. So I'm very fortunate in that way. But compared to people that have actual wealth, I'm a prole from 1984. I amuse myself with video games and, you know, social media. But I'm not relevant. And people who do have wealth, people who are relevant, that seriously don't even know that I'm alive. And yet here I am thinking I have this amazing quality of life. And I suppose I do. I'm pretty content. And that's the reason that I'm not picking up farming tools and heading for the house on the hill. But, you know, there is just such a gap, not just in the United States, but in the world, between people who actually have wealth and get to make choices that affect all of us, and the rest of us that distract ourselves with candy and gum, bread and circuses. You know, I feel like I've got a great quality of life. I'm as happy as can be. And I will continue to be so as long as I avoid thinking about, carefully, as long as I avoid thinking about, you know, that other stuff. All right, and I think we can just park this right up here at the gate. We're going to need it, I'm guessing, before tomorrow morning, because these weeds will start to sprout here. All right, so we'll pull this right up here. Lights off, engine off. Corn at that height wouldn't really be affected by weeds. Ah, interesting. So as the corn grew, it would starve the weeds. I like that. We live like Roman aristocracy. Yeah, without the lead poisoning. All right. So we'll take a look at this map. We're over here now. All right, let's speed time up again. And it's not quite midnight yet, so we'll speed time up and see what happens when our weeds grow. Mateo, what's happening? How you doing? How's your weekend? No weeds yet. I'm on the weed patrol. Speak for myself. I mean, I try to. My dad was big on that theory, and he had researched it to the point where his conclusions were that they weren't getting it from utensils; they were actually getting it from the glaze in their ceramics. So I don't know about that. Yeah, have you seen the double camel hump curve for lead in fuel and violent crime? So for a statistician, one hump in a graph can be overlaid with another. I don't know, compelling, but not conclusive. But when you get a double camel hump, that's like a statistician's dream. That is, yeah, to see how it tracks is amazing. What equipment? Let's see. Let me take a look for weeds one more time, and then we'll take a spin through. So right now we have got 3 tractors. We've got a Claas Arian. We've got a JCB, a modded JCB. We've got a modded John Deere 7 Series. We've got a John Deere Combine Harvester, a little Claas telehandler, and then we've got just some basic stuff. A lot of stuff from the Kverneland pack. Yep, I think almost everything from the Kverneland pack. Yep, just about. And then some telehandler tools, weights, miscellaneous. Yeah, it's amazing. And when you think about, you know, when I lived in Colorado, I spent a lot of time in the backcountry, and you're in this beautiful, pristine landscape, and you come around a bend and you can see an old mine, and there's a couple acres of tailings, and it's just absolutely blighted. It looks like the surface of Mars. And the people that were running those mines, I don't think they were bad people, but in that era, late 1800s, early 1900s, who knew? You know, this is just what you do. It's like the river in Cleveland that kept catching on fire. You know, if you had toxic waste in your facility, you just ran a pipe out the back and threw it in the river. And then the river carries it away. So things like adding lead to gas, I don't think there was any malice. But you look back at it 50 or 100 years later, and it's like, oh, no. That lead in fuel contributed to violent crime. And not only did it destroy the lives of the people who had violence done to them, but it destroyed the lives of the people that went to prison for decades because they did something violent. And, you know, it's a very slippery slope to say, well, they weren't responsible. No, they might not have been responsible. They still did it. They certainly need to be in prison, separated from the rest of us. But to find out that, you know, it was just chemistry. It was just brain chemistry. And when they said I couldn't help myself, they really couldn't, you know. And you take the lead, out, and suddenly the violent crime rate drops very noticeably, precipitously. Okay, well, I'm glad we know that now. But it doesn't help people from 40 or 50 years ago. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I lived in Moab. Moab's a cancer cluster from Atlas Mining. That big pile of dirt on the edge of town, it's not dirt. It's uranium tailings. My favorite map, I think my favorite map overall is the Western Shore for 17, but I'm really liking this Chellington map for 19 right now. Do I have animals? I do. We've got, in fact, we need to take a look at them anyway, so thank you for asking. We have got 25 sheep, and we've got 50 cows. Holy smokes, we made 6,000 liters of milk overnight, and we've got 6,000 liters of manure we need to muck out. And yeah, we got to muck out the sheep as well. Yeah, exactly. It was, I mean, it seemed like a good idea. We've got no weeds here. Do weeds grow in clover? Because I feel like if they were going to, they would have definitely grown by now. Okay. I guess we don't have to weed clover. Perfect. And our sunflowers are ready to harvest. All right, so we'll take this back and park it up. We don't need to spray this field for weeds. Almost just got ended by a cement truck. We've got, we're sort of mixing it up on this map, Mateo. We've got sunflower in. I thought we were going to need some oil seed to feed the pigs, but we're not going to do pigs. So we've got sunflower. We'll probably just sell them for money. And then other than that, we've got a spread. We've got grass fields. Just planted a clover field. We've got cornfield because we're going to need fresh corn for the cows. And what else did we put in? Oh, we're going to need to put in sugar beets at some point because we'll need to feed sugar beets to the cows. And I'm just working, it's a big map. I'm just working in the top, I guess the northwest corner, top left corner. All right, down here. Read this that just came in. Waiting for Chellington on console? Yeah, I don't want to be negative, and I don't have any inside information, but it may not make it to console. Yeah, I mean, good intentions, right? A lot of good intentions throughout history. So turn this right in here. I'm going to speed time up a little bit more. It was it was awfully dark overnight. Let's brighten things up a little bit. There we go. That's better. Tractor brand? No, I think they're all... There's no real performance difference between them. I'd say if anything, you just want to focus on horsepower. And if you've got... if you're playing realistically and you've got financial goals, really try to... I mean, you don't have to like spreadsheet it out, but try to do the math on what the operating costs would be for different equipment of different sizes. And very often what it comes down to is how much time you need to put into a crop. So you can, I mean, you can plant a massive field with a small implement. It's just going to take you a lot more time. Do I have a favorite? I really like the Ford T-Dub. And I really like this JCB that we have. All right, so now, you know what? We can leave this out. And before I do anything else, let me turn off the four-wheel drive. Did they not? I thought we had Kubota. Hang on. Moment. Do we not? We have some Kubota, don't we? Oh man, now I'm questioning myself. Do we have Kubota? We do not. Why did I think they added that? I know you can get mods. I thought they had added Kubota. All right. Not in base game yet. My mistake. All right, so we'll need to, I guess just take this down there now. What's the difference, right? Yeah, I really like it. It's, I know, well, depending on how it's configured, it doesn't have front hydraulics, and it's definitely an older design, but I don't know. I like it. It works for me on a lot of different levels. And I don't know how wealthy I'd have to be before I bought a hobby farm, but if I did, I would definitely get me a Ford T-Dub. On this cost that we're in right now, I want to say it's 130. I'll take a look for you. I want to say it's 130. This is our small sort of utility tractor. Yep, it is 130. So we can run the smaller equipment with it, and we can haul this trailer with it. That's about it. Oh, we've got a canola field in as well. It's our canola right there. Canola with the Proceed tracks in it. Oh, no worries. They took Lamborghini out of 19, didn't they? I know it was in 17. It's just Fendt now. It's just a rebadged Fendt. Oh no, I'm sorry. Rebadged Deutzfahr. All right, so if we pull this up right over here, yep, throw this right here. Had a Lamborghini. I'm told they are. Told they're not bad, or they, when they were their own brand before Agco bought them, they were very nice. Did they take it out? Yeah, there was the Lamborghini Mach 1, I want to say. Mach VS1 in 17. Okay, so we're going to teleport right here. Oh, lovely. With the sun coming up, get in our massive, overpowered combine harvester. I got this for the big fields. I know we'll need it at some point. I don't have horses. Oh, as I impale myself on the header. I don't have any horses. I don't think I'm going to do horses on this map. Oh, you had a Ford? Right on. All right, Big B. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Lamborghini was awful. See, I've heard they were a decent tractor, like in the 70s. I like it. I've got a nice modded fast track that I use, but I feel like JCB really sort of fits and looks right on a UK style map. Driving around this pallet of seed that I left in the yard. We'll get rid of that at some point. Trying to drive this thing carefully. I'm on a gamepad, but I'm using a keyboard steering. It's almost like a damper, and I feel like that makes it a lot easier to control the vehicles, but they're still kind of, I don't know, they like to flip-flop around. All right, here we go. I feel like there's no traffic on this part of the map. I know down toward if we were going the other direction on this same road, where we would make the right to get to the store, I feel like there's definitely some traffic down that way, but there's really no traffic up this way. Didn't have a drain plug for the engine oil. You had to siphon the oil out. That is that is not efficient. And we want to turn here. I think we do. Yep. And we could stay to the left down there. We need to, I think, be in the center here. All right. So now, so if we, I mean, I would want to drop it right here. And we may need to kind of wiggle our way around it so we can pick it up. But if we go here and we get this little, this is 5.7 meters. Can we fit this? I think we can fit this through the gate, but just barely, and we are going to have to go around to the other side of it. All right, so we'll turn beacons off. I do have sheep right now. Chickens, I don't know. I've never made any money with eggs. I feel like it's not super well designed. I would like to see it be more, not industrial, but now I'm told there's a mod you can get where you have like pallets of eggs that you sell for hundreds of euro instead of selling single eggs. But I don't have that mod running right now. I might do pigs, but pigs are like way down in the corner on this map. Let me zoom out here. So we're working up here in the northwest, and pigs are down, like seriously, all the way down at the very southwest corner of the map. So it would be kind of a, I don't know, it might not be super efficient to get back and forth from the pigs as far as keeping them fed, and depending on how much food they needed. Yeah, unknown at this point. I mean, we could. And I think, let's just kind of nibble at this a little bit. Let's just kind of nibble at this and widen it out a little bit till we can make our turn. So we'll just kind of open up the field. All right. Right. Carefully. I do. I mean, I think a lot of it, because so many of these tractors are made by the same few companies, I think a lot of it does come down to just what you like. Because under the hood, a lot of them are really the same. And we need to slow this down a little bit, pardon me. Let's go right about there. There we go. We just need to bring these sunflowers in, and I think we're going to sell them. We may save a little bit. We may save like 30 or 40,000 liters in case we do decide to do pigs. But I think mostly we're just going to be selling these for money, and we certainly have enough of them. So we should be able to make a few bucks, and then other than that, just taking care of the animals that we have, and selling wool and milk as they continue to reproduce. So the cows were super productive overnight. I was not expecting that, because all day yesterday, we bought the cows yesterday. All day yesterday, they made like 1,500 liters, and then overnight they made like another 4,500 liters. So we need to sell that, see what we can get for it. We've got a mod. The map maker included a mod where we can sell the milk from the farm, but we have to do it manually. So we'll sell milk, see how that works out. We're using Maize Plus, so I'm confused too. I have not used it until this save game. So my only experience with Maize Plus is like right now. I'm learning it as I play, and I don't fully understand it yet, but you have to feed them a lot of different stuff. It's broken it down into essentially four tiers or 4 classes of food, and each one of them is good for 25%. When I get done with this headland, I'll pop the menu open. Missed a little bit there. Let's back up and get this. And the reason this field is so screwy is I was using not Pro Mods. I was using Pro Mods. I was using Proseed, and it for some reason it was making tram lines at all times, even though they weren't showing as tram lines. They were showing as regular seeded part of the field, but it still kind of screwed up the field. So I have Proseed uninstalled now, and this field and the one next to it will be the only two with those marks all over the place. You know, I really don't. I started this map to test out the Grima DLC for potatoes. I really don't like any type of root crop. I feel like it's just way too slow for me. And I never found a way to make it profitable. So not a fan of potatoes or sugar beets, but we'll have to put sugar beets in. I'm going to hop in cab. Those trees are in the way. I feel like we're going to have to put sugar beets in. Jaden, what's happening? I feel like we're going to have to put sugar beets in to keep the cows fed. All right, and I know we could be over to the right a little bit, but I'm staying out to the left so we can square this up so we don't have a divot when we come in. Jaden, Nightbot doesn't like that, man. What crop is a good starter moneymaker? Soybeans or canola? And canola, you can, well, if you're playing without seasons, you can plant anything anytime you want. But if you're playing with seasons, canola is one of the first crops that you can plant. So I would say canola. And for the most part, unless the geomod that you're on is really brutal, canola is typically, canola and soybeans are like the most profitable. Anytime there's a lot of consonants like that, well, anytime there's a lot of repeating characters at all, but particularly consonants, Nightbot gets a little, you know what I'm saying? How you doing, Jaden? And I think the field next to this one, how close under this tree can we get? Pretty close. There we go. Missed a little bit. We'll either come back for it or we'll just plow it under. Whoa. And then the sun came out. I have to say our yield is a little bit disappointing so far. We're at about 20% of the tank for one headland, and that is a little bit disappointing. Sunflower is a very dense crop, so you don't necessarily fill up as quickly as you do with something fluffy like wheat or barley, but it's still, I would have thought we could have done a little better than that. So there's one headland. Yeah, the trees can be tricky. All right, what was I going to show you? The animals. Let's hop in here. So if you're running Maize Plus, this is what the animals eat. And that's why we got all that corn in field 2.9. And then same thing for the sheep. So they've got, I guess, 4 foods now, and you have to get all 4 of them. They don't have to be topped off, but you have to have enough in all four food groups to keep them at 100%. The sheep are making wool really, really slowly. Like, I think they've made 1 pallet since we got them. But the cows are up over 6,000 liters of milk. So, yep, just, I don't know, progress. And we can, let's go around one more time. And with this long pipe, we may have to sort of figure a way to get the trailer under the pipe. But at 18% for one headland, we can definitely make it around at least 2 more times. And I think what we'll do, where are we at on time? right at 2 hours. So let's, we may do this entire field. We may just fill the tank and empty into the trailer. How's the horsepower? Oh, I mean, big. It's a combine harvester, so it's pretty high horsepower. Let me see. 625 horsepower. There aren't nearly as many hills on this map as the one that we're coming from, so I think we can be a little bit more, I don't know. We have a little bit more latitude as far as horsepower, and we're not running any realism mods other than vehicle control add-on. And that doesn't really beat you up the way something like more realistic does. I mean, it adds some realism, but it's not over the top like more realistic can be. But yeah, I've really come around to 19. Purbeck Valley we had a cursed save game. There was nothing wrong with Purbeck Valley, but we ended up with a cursed save game. But this save game is better, and then with Maze Plus, I've really come to appreciate 19. I was not a fan when it first dropped, but I feel like they've continued to work on it, and it's caught up. And I mean, realistically, I think the reason they've been working on it is because they want to sell DLC, and if the game is broken and nobody likes it, then they can't sell DLC. But, you know, I'll take it any way I can get it. Yeah, I definitely do, Mateo. I think one of my biggest complaints about any title in the Farm Sim franchise in base game configuration is that it's too sort of open-ended. You can really do anything you want, anytime you want. It doesn't really feel like a farm simulator. It feels like just a farm game. But if you add precision farming, and now Maze Plus is not made by Giants, that's a third-party mod. But if you add precision farming, if you add Maze Plus, seasons, I don't know. I was a huge fan of seasons for a long time, but we're playing without seasons right now. My voice is just about to go, by the way. I'll hold on as long as I can. But with seasons and precision farming and Maze Plus, it really it makes the game a lot. It gives it more depth. I don't want to say that it complicates it. It gives you more to do. Whereas in base game, you can really do anything you want. And I know some people really do want to farm that way, but I found it to be just too, I don't know, it just too open-ended. It would be like a racing sim where you just drive around a parking lot. You know, I need to have a track. I need to have lap times. I need to have, I need to have some structure to it. And I feel like just regular farm sim, as it comes out of the box, for me, it doesn't have quite enough structure. But precision farming adds to it, and Maze Plus definitely adds to it. All right, and we're going to be, I'm trying to see down there. We're at 35%. Yeah, I think we could probably make it around a third time. Let's do that. Let's just go around a third time. We'll still have room in the tank. And we'll definitely have 3 headlands will give us enough room that we can get the trailer under the pipe. Empty this thing out. That'll be 2 hours, and then we'll call it before my voice completely cracks. And it looks like I missed a little bit here. I'm going to try to trim this corner a bit. I don't know what exactly went down. It seems like there's some trouble. We'll get this cleaned up. Yeah, once more around. I think that'll do it. Because we'll be at... we might not even be at 50% by the time we get to... Interesting. I think if you turn this thing too tight... No. Hang on. I'm really curious. I want these right here. Yeah, it's for some reason it is not wanting to harvest those. Okay. Hey man, I just work here. This game does look good morning and evening. Any title in the franchise, I think, looks good morning and evening. But that shadow right there, right, with the low sun, this is definitely... It definitely gives you a feeling. And we're close enough here. I'm not going to mess with the 3-point turn. We'll just lift and then deadhead over to the other corner there. It's a decent sized field. I don't know what volume we're losing from those, all those tram lines. Maybe 10%. So we'll lose some money, but I don't think we're going to get beat up too bad. Hopefully we make some money from this. I mean, I hope, because if this thing is half full now, I'm trying to do some head math here. Just trying to estimate. You know what, we might not even, because yeah, if it takes 4 headlands to fill the tank and it takes 2 tanks to fill the trailer, I don't even know if we're going to get a full trailer out of this field. And let me see what Sunflower is selling for, but 25,000 liters we might get for all the sunflower in both these fields. I think we might get like 40 or 50 grand. That is not, you know what I'm saying? That's not how you get rich in this business. All right, down here. Definitely got a little room to work though. Got some room to turn around, so I think we can get the trailer in under the pipe, no problem. Yeah, nice sight lines in this map. And you can definitely tell, looking out there, you can definitely tell that Oxygen David and Bullet Bill work together. So we don't need to wait till spring, so we can get these 2 fields planted again immediately. And I guess, let's see how we're doing on straw bales. But we may just put wheat in one of these and I don't know, maybe soybeans in the other. See how we're doing. I think the crops we plant is going to depend mostly on what the animals need to eat. Where are we at? About 60%. Yeah, because every headland gets smaller. So if we got 25% on the first headland, we'll get like 20% on the second one and so on. But our tank is definitely filling slower. All right, so it goes. Yeah, I don't know why these little scruffy bits here didn't get caught in the header. I don't know, maybe I just didn't go over them far enough. So we drop that. Yeah, 62% for 3 headlands. Now they're not complete headlands in fairness, because we are skipping some of the little end bits, and you know, but that's still, we probably brought a third of this field in, maybe a quarter, and we're at 10,000. So yeah, 40,000. Let's just assume 40,000 liters for the entire field. And I think that may be a little generous, but let's just assume 40,000. We'll check the price here and see where we're at. I'm not super optimistic. All right, so we'll lift that. And can we, how do we want to do this? How far over is the pipe? Yeah, I think we can get under there. Okay. So we'll check prices first. Sunflower is missing. There it is. Oh, God. That's not good. That's not good. I think call it 800. 866 is the most I'm seeing. 828. Call it 800 just to keep the math even. 40,000. So would that be 32,000 euro for the field times 2, 60,000? I'll take it. I mean, it's profit, but it's definitely not where I thought we'd be. I don't know if Maize Plus does anything with prices. And I also just noticed we're at 0% for hay pellets. I'm hoping that Straw Harvest hasn't bugged out this trailer, because normally it would just be empty, but it had hay pellets in it last. So let's see if we can even get sunflower in here. And we can. Beautiful. All right. Whew. I thought it was going to bug out on me. So we'll turn this off. We're going to let that continue running. Pro Gamer, what's happening? Weren't you here earlier? I thought I said hi already. All right, so we'll hop that, and we're going to run across our meadow here. There we go. And I want to test out this. I want to test out this milk sale mod, because I haven't used it before. It was on Purbeck, but we didn't have any cows, so we never used it. Oh, and we've got 6,000 liters of poo in the barn here. Oh dear. Yeah, we'll need to buck that out. All right, so let's get this sold and then we'll call it. And this thing is right over here. I tried to sell once and it said there was like a breakdown. The guy was caught in traffic or something. All right. 1,000 liters. Sell all of it. Sell all of it. The fee is $7.93. Ah, interesting. I'm wondering if this fee stays the same because they need the same rig to sell it. We do need money, so we'll go ahead and do this one time, but we'll check that in the future and see if we actually want to let it build up to maybe not 800,000, but let's see what happens if it builds up. Okay. So we made about $6,000. Okay, I'll take it. Let's go over here. This is a nice view to wrap things up. And how are we doing on water? Plenty of water. Beautiful. All right, there you have it. So we'll hop back in tomorrow. We'll do X-Plane. I want to do Brussels to Vienna. It's a fun flight. And then we'll be back here on Tuesday to continue growing the farm. There you have it. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Good night.